So if you need that to take your video.
Huh?
I said it works really well if you need that to take your video.
Right. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to solder this wire there, and I'll leave one end exposed. That way when you get your battery caps, you can just right onto that red, right?
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Okay. Did I do this wrong? Hold on a second. Don't go just yet, because the nice thing about solder is you can always melt the connection and just take something off. So, not a big deal. I just gotta... Just give me a second. Just so I can keep looking at it and double checking things. Righto. Alright, so. So we got the guy that comes off of the transistor goes straight to the negative terminal, that's right. The diode that runs between them. Okay, and the negative there runs to ground on everything else. Cool. We're good so far.
Okay.
So, I'm just going to strip this guy real quick. Yeah, soldering is a little less stressful because it's like, if you mess something up, you can always, first of all, figure out what you messed up, and second of all, melt the solder and just try again. It's kind of hard to fuck something up so badly that you have to buy a new component.
Okay.
Unless you actually just melt the component itself, which that can happen, but it takes a bit of effort to do that actually. So I wouldn't worry too much on this part of the process. I'm just going to put a little curly on this guy. There. So yeah, man, helping hands, they are a wonderful tool. When they want to actually clip, that is. You know what? Fine, I'll just leave that on the desk. I don't care. That'll work. That didn't work. I need some more though. That's a weak connection. those guys are both on there.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to strip the end of this guy so that for today, I'll show you a little trick.
Wow, this was blocking my view the entire time.
That's okay. I only really did one soldering connection
Yeah.
just there, so.
Will you be here Sunday?
I don't know. Rather doubt it.
If I needed help on Sunday, could I come over to your place?
Potentially.
Okay.
I'll let you know as soon as I know. Because, I mean, aside from pulling an all-nighter tonight, I don't know if I'll be done before the weekend. So,
Yeah.
this is just a nice little trick. I'm going to twist these wires together
Okay.
after they've been stripped. And then I'm just going to put some solder on the end of the stripped wire.
Okay.
And what that does is just keeps any of those individual wires from breaking off and makes it a little bit more solid. So that way, you know, I can clip an alligator clip to it, which I'm going to do after I'm done soldering all of this.
Okay.
So that I can just alligator clip the whole thing to a battery and make sure it all works. And this will give you, hopefully, a nice demonstration of what the solder looks like when it really flows. So I'm going to come to the underside here. I want that jumper out of the way. I don't want to melt the casing on that. I'll just hold it on that cable for a bit and just watch how it should spool out over that wire. See how it spreads out over the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of naturally. It will avoid cool areas though. And then I'll just kind of go back and paint it a little bit. So now instead of a stranded wire, that is
It's like a
kind of more
single-
like a core wire, yeah.
Okay.
That just makes it so it's less fragile.
Okay.
All right, and there's no stragglers, so that was good. Okay, next we have to get everything grounded together.
Which would be through the Arduino, right?
Yes-ish.
So is that something I'm going to have to do after I get my Arduino?
No, well, hold on, just let me. So everything goes to the same ground, right? And there's a jumper here to do that for the transistor. There's one here to do that from the battery pack. And there's one to do it to the Arduino. So basically, what I'll do is take one of your jumpers.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have to remember what my thought process was on this. Ah, right, okay. I'm gonna solder one onto the ground of the transistor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to solder a little piece of loose wire to the same spot, and that will be battery terminals here.
Okay.
And then this pin to the ground on your Arduino.
Okay.
And that will do it.
Okay.
That should do it.
Okay.
You know, knock on wood. So let me do those real quick, and then we can power it up and see if I actually know what I'm talking about or not. That's always the gamble, is once everything is done and powered up. Another good tip to know is solder's conductive.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, it is good practice to make sure that you've got contact and then just treat solder like a glue.
Okay.
you don't want to fill gaps with a bunch of solder. That
Yeah.
will not perform as well. It also means that you shouldn't just, slam your soldering iron into something. It's a very light touch. I think that one went really well.
Yay.
Look at how clean that was. I've never made one that
Nice.
nice. That's, woo. Okay, that got me a little excited.
All right, let's do a bit of a longer one for that, please.
For
the
this?
battery.
Well, for now, we're just going to use alligator clips, and then whenever your caps get here, you can just solder the ends of the caps onto these wires.
Okay, I was just thinking it would be easier to solder the end of that if it was a bit longer to reach the battery. It's just that's a very short wire.
Yes, this is a very short wire, but the components that you're waiting on are going to be like this.
Okay.
And then once you get these, you'll just take those ends and you'll solder that one to the end of this and this
Okay.
one to the end of that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm also trying to keep it as small as I can because, these are supposed to be like integrated into soft goods, so.
It's going to be so fun when I have to have a really long wire to reach towards the bottom of the skirt.
Then you just solder up some wires to get all the way there. You'll be good. You'll be Gucci.
Do you think I could get something like this at Home Depot?
No.
No.
That is like an online order sort of a deal.
Could I take the white and blue spools?
Sure.
Okay.
Just don't mess with my red or my black. Those are my bread and butter.
That's why I was trying to think. I was like, you're gonna want your red and black, so I can theoretically think about. I was like, white will be negative and blue will be positive, right? Because black is negative, red's positive.
Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, black is like the industry standard for negative or hot. Because it seems backwards, but electrons that make up electricity are negatively charged. So generally speaking, the negative line is called the hot line, or the one that the electricity is actually going through.
I am listening. I'm just grabbing a pen so that I can mark these spots. You don't have a Sharpie, do you? Oh, you do.
I like to be well equipped, but I'm somehow always missing something. Okay, that was a bit of a difficult connection to make right there because in order to solder it to that, I had to put it up in the thing again, and it kind of messed with my initial solder, but I think everything there is still pretty solid with itself, with each other. Yeah. So I lost the really, really pretty solder, which makes me sad, but it's still fine. It's totally fine. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same little trick with this guy, as far as just soldering the end of it to make it neat looking. I did also notice in whatever kit that you bought, you had some really meaty looking solder.
It was just one that my dad had. I'm gonna go get a thin one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Home Depot has it. They should have solder, right?
They have solder. I don't know if they've got solder as fine as mine. Now, mine people call super fine. I'm just like, I only ever use it for like 22 gauge wires. I find it perfect for that level of soldering.
Could I take a strip of it then?
You'll go through much more than a strip. And I'm gonna go ahead and say no, because I need to do my own soldering.
Okay. Do you know where I could get one that's that fine?
I got mine on the internet.
In a matter of a day?
Can't remember. I think I actually ordered this off of AliExpress way before I even started with Arduinos. Hence the Chinese on it. There used to be. Oh wait, no, I went through that spool. I don't know where I got this. It's been in my toolbox for a while though. Also, contrary to most people, I do recommend a lead solder.
Okay.
It's kind of a health hazard when you're using it, but when you're using this very tiny amount, not so much. Also, lead has a significantly lower melting point, so it is just easier to use.
Okay.
Especially for beginners, of which I would still consider myself a beginner.
And especially me.
Right. So that's what the final thing should look like.
Okay.
Now, I'll grab some alligator clips. Clip this one onto there, which is the negative battery terminal.
Mm-hmm.
Clip this one onto there. Do the same for the battery terminals.
And can we pin into your Arduino if it has it uploaded?
Yeah.
Oh, yours has the photosensitivity.
Yeah, I've got something else that I have uploaded, but I will indeed go and upload. Yeah, bring this over.
Oh, okay.